Alright, so been about 4.5 hours since I saw you guys this morning. 8 o'clock, I made sure that this was still a little bit too soft, so I'm gonna go ahead and check it now. And it's gotten a lot firmer, but it's still not dry enough. It's still gonna be way too soft to use, but I can increase the drying speed by doing a couple of things. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do that. Sit this up here like this. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a putty knife like this. I'm gonna cut through the clay here, and then I'm going to lift it up and then roll it into kind of a disc. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside. And I'm gonna repeat this as I go through the whole thing. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stack these up. And this is all dried stuff that I'm gonna recycle later on. But as you can see, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but the plaster table that I have here, the clay that I've been drying on it has completely saturated the plaster. It didn't get a chance to dry out completely overnight, over the weekend. So unfortunately, it's really not absorbing any more of the moisture. So I'm gonna try and let that dry by opening this up a little bit. Okay, and then under here, okay, this is just ground up clay dust. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use that to help dry out the table, okay? And you can see this, and it'll change, and it'll get a little bit darker and darker and darker. And what's happening is this is absorbing the water, the moisture from the plaster into the clay dust. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this guy here. Okay, so this is another one of those discs. I'm going to wedge it, and you can see how easy it is to wedge. And that should tell you how soft that clay is. So I wedge it a little bit. Don't have to do it for too long. Okay? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna smash it and flatten it into some large rectangles. I can throw it down at an angle like that. That'll help stretch the clay out. Biggest thing is I wanna make it nice and even. Okay? And then I'm gonna go ahead and stand it up on end like this. And I will do that all along here. And what this will do is this will increase the amount of air that can get around my clay, and it will help it dry out a little bit faster. Okay? Yeah, having it up in the air, it does dry out faster. It's a little harder to control, but we just have to keep an eye on it and make sure that it doesn't get too dried out too quickly. Okay? Go like that. Another chunk, and I leave it about 1.5 to 2 inches thick. Just kind of depends. Biggest thing is I want to make it nice and even as far as the thickness goes, so that way it's going to dry out fairly evenly. But there's the next one. I won't bore you guys with the rest of it, so I'm going to do a time lapse and show you guys how I do all of it. It should take me about 15 minutes. So I'm doing this during lunch, so I'm going to try and do it so I can get my lunch done.